Okay, so how would you describe or explain LARPing to the uninitiated?
So, LARPing is really hard to explain. I guess it's sort of like the imagination games you play as a kid, but a little bit more serious, more fun. You still get to hang out with your friends, do some cardio, but it's really a live, interactive D&D game, really.
Cool. So I know a little bit, but can you explain what you do, what your nerd culture passion is, and a bit about your business model?
All right, well, my passion when it comes to nerd stuff really revolves around the aesthetic, costumes, weapons, all of that kind of thing. And early on, I started out with cosplay, and that led me to LARP because it just sort of felt like a natural next step to being able to wear weird, cool costumes.
Yeah.
And just an excuse to follow that. So that's how my business model started evolving. I centered around making costumes, making just cool stuff in general. And the community really supported what I was doing, and they thought it was great to have someone who had a little bit of background skill in that, be able to make a lot of the behind the scenes props and stuff like that for games. And from there I started making custom commissions for people for their own characters, and that's sort of how I jumped into a lot of film stuff as well. So I do a little bit for film and and stage and that kind of thing as well. Yeah, it was all really organically led on to each other.
So, would you say that LARPing is your main passion, or is it all together?
No, LARP definitely takes up 90% of my life right now. I'm writing games and running them, especially helping to run from the crew room and that kind of thing. So it does take up a lot of my time. So far as my business model goes, it's not great because a lot of the money that comes in from making cool stuff ends up going back into the games that I'm involved with. But it's cool, it's fun, I like it, I get to do what I love. So we're winning in that book.
Cool. When did LARPs first find your heart?
That would be about 10 years ago now. I met a guy through Armageddon. NZ LARPs had a stall there and they were promoting one of their big games called Crucible, which happened 10 years ago now. And I got involved with that as a non-player character and managed to get a whole lot of insight around the behind the scenes running of LARPs, and was just overwhelmed with the amount of cool costume and people who were really excited about cool costume aspects. So it stuck from there. I found my tribe.
Nice. As far as New Zealand, how and why does LARPing work in New Zealand, in your opinion?
Well, I haven't really experienced LARP overseas, but I know it's very different. Because New Zealand is a smaller community, I think we have a lot more LARPs that are very close-knit and story-based when it comes to that, because we are a lot more about interacting with each other when it comes to telling stories, rather than just being a little part in a huge overarching big game like the ones that I've watched videos of, for example, from overseas, where there's thousands of people involved and you easily get lost. I think New Zealand LARP, there's a lot more, you can be your main character and everybody gets a chance to shine because the games are a bit smaller, which is cool, I think.
Yeah. So how is business and how did you adapt when COVID hit?
Yeah, COVID really killed everything in my industry, especially with film. So I actually took that lull as a chance to start writing more and getting into that kind of aspect of LARP. And that actually worked in my favor a lot, having a lot of time to step back from the actual physical side of my job and think a lot more about where I wanted to go in the future with running games, or staying where I was with just the making side. So that was a good kick up the bum. But for me, because a lot of my work is commission based, I still had enough to do. But a lot of the main revenue streams, like with film or doing markets and stuff like that, which is how I usually sell my gear, that all stopped. So I had to really look at whether to get online and get involved in other ways.
Cool. So what did you find most challenging in the beginning, and what about now? on the business side of things?
Business wise, because I never considered myself a business even after I started earning money in this area, the hardest thing for me was to be able to put a price on my time and my craft and ask my friends for that money, because we've got such a small tight-knit community. I'm going out, and jobs that I would usually just do for people because they're my friends, I really have to look at it and say, well, no, this is my job now, this is my living. And having to put a price on that is actually really difficult.
Yeah. Do you celebrate wins, and how do you celebrate wins?
That's an odd question. I think pretty much every facet of what I do is some kind of celebration in some sense. At the moment, I am making some really cool stuff for a masquerade ball in Rotorua, and I'm doing commissions for people like that. And the win for me is being able to go to these events and see my cool stuff in the real, you know, and see how happy that makes other people. So the win is the fact that I've done the thing and we've made some cool stuff together. And yeah, I don't think you need much more than that.
So your celebration is the enjoyment of doing the work, and
and other people's enjoyment of it as well. I don't think there's much better than the feeling you get when someone is super excited to be wearing something that you've made. So and being able to see the cool characters that people come up with when they become that character because they've put on some cool pieces of costume, like that's pretty fucking cool in my book.
Cool. What do you do to make yourself stand out in a crowd of nerd culture businesses? Do you have a competitive strategy?
I am in a bit of a niche when it comes to people making stuff, especially in regards to LARP. There's not a whole lot of us because the business there is not huge and it's not hugely profitable. So everybody that's doing what I'm doing is doing it because they love what they're doing. And I don't want to compete with that. I want to help people as much as possible make more cool shit. Because the more cool stuff there is at a LARP, the better it looks for everyone. So I don't really have a competition strategy. I don't really try to outpace anyone. I'm not trying to do anything exciting in that realm. Like, I feel the more that we can support each other and uplift other people trying to do cool stuff in our little niche of society, the better, really.
So, weird question. How do you feel about fandom or nerd culture, and do you feel accepted by other realms of fandom culture and nerd culture?
Yeah, that's a hard one. LARP sort of has a weird, don't know what you'd call it, but I've lost the word. This happens to me. But there's a strange standoffishness when it comes to people that I really thought would enjoy LARP, but they just find the whole concept a bit weird, especially when it comes to like tabletop role-playing games and the people who really enjoy wargaming, tabletop gaming, cosplay, all of those things that you'd think would be very aligned in idealisms and interests. I think it's really hard for people to take that step into LARP. And it's sort of looked down upon with some of the other nerd cultures like the SCA and serious historical reenactment when it comes to that side of things, because we are just having fun. It's all about cool-centicity rather than authenticity. We're not trying to reproduce anything or reenact anything. So there's a few things where you'd think that it would be really aligned, but it's just people are missing this and just finding it a little bit hard to understand what exactly is going on. And that partly comes down to the fact that it is actually so hard to explain how cool it is to people.
I was talking to Brian Steele, who's Tales from a Professional Nerd on YouTube, and he actually brought up the movie Role Models. And how there's this moment in that movie where the nerd, because they're LARPing, and the nerd says, "This is actually really cool, isn't it?" And the cool guy is like, "Yeah, it is." You know, and he finally realized that realization.
That happens in real life a lot. People bring along their friends who are too cool to be pretending to be a wizard in a field, but give them a couple of hours and actually they're having a blast. And a lot of it is like remembering how to play. I think a lot of people as adults forget that we're allowed to just play and enjoy ourselves and be an idiot if you want to, and just accept people for wanting to do something outside of the norm.
Yeah. So you would be quite, I don't want to use the word intimate, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, you would be quite close with a lot of the people you LARP with. So I was just wondering, what other interests do you find that they have?
Yeah, well, like I've been saying, a lot of nerd culture in regards to roleplay is a bit of a Venn diagram. There's so many people who have huge tabletop games. D&D's a big one. A lot of people play online through Discord, through servers for Minecraft and Ark, and a lot of online gaming like that. And there is a lot of online LARPs that you can do as well. But yeah, the interest wild and varied, because the LARP culture is, you know, not exactly like there's no hard lines. So people who come to a LARP, they're doctors and nurses and politicians and teachers and people who are still students and people who work at Packet Save, you know, like it is a huge section that come to these things, and LARP is the one thing that brings us all together, where our circles in daily life otherwise wouldn't cross.
Yeah.
But because New Zealand LARP is so small, like I do know all these people by name, you know, like we might not be close outside of LARP, but I still would recognize them. I know them. We do, like, yeah, you get close to people spending a hard weekend of, you know, pretending to be warriors and wizards and all of that.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
It really does sound really cool. I think that's about all I need. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yeah, all good.
Thanks for your time.
So what are you writing? A magazine, yeah? Magazine article?
Yeah,
or a whole thing?
It's a zine, like an indie zine, but I've gotten so much content that it's turning more into a coffee table book.
Yeah, I wondered that.
It's going to have like 34 10-page interviews is the goal.
Yeah.
The last one came out about 10 pages. I'll see how long this turns out, and then I'll be able to figure out how long the whole thing is. And then the last 50 pages is just a few more essays, like invented dungeon-themed recipes and socialist political rant and design drawing cartoons and stuff like that. But I want to put a lot of full-color images as well.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten so many really colorful images so far that I've decided to go from black and white to color, because I don't want to lose all that color. It looks so nice. And it's already, with 34 people, that's 10 pages. It's about 300 and it'll be about 390 pages. So I didn't want to do the like photocopied and then selling at markets. Selling at markets sounds cool, but I wanted to bring the production value up a bit, because so many people have agreed to contribute, and I want to pay service to that and have it, you know, a little bit more polished when I present it.